gentlemen, welcome back to the Call of Duty World Championship. My name is Bryce, joining me here at Landon. We've got another game coming in for you here, and it's exciting. Why is it exciting, Landon?
It is because both of these teams have won a game. They've won a series respectively, and this is going to be a fantastic game to kind of decide exactly how Pool B is working out. Because, Bryce, we talked about both these teams 1-0, and kind of more on the surprising side, FUEGO off of a victory versus Gen G.
And here's the thing, right? While it's not guaranteed, basically the winner of this game qualifies for bracket.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's not guaranteed. You can go 2-1 and, you know, we're going to have all the tiebreaker situations going on. But if you win this game, you're in with a very good shot.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think this doesn't exactly guarantee it, but it puts you in such a good situation coming into day number 2. But like we talked about, a lot of interesting situations, and I will say, whenever FUEGO took down Gen G, they took 2 hard points. One of those hard points is the one that we're looking at right now here on Seaside. So a lot of expectations for this FUEGO roster, but Gen G, Enigma6, a different beast from Gen G. Very talented roster. We'll see how FUEGO stacks up, and clearly off the rip there, Bryce, pretty well.
They are, and it's so surprising. Nobody really expected FUEGO to make this kind of a wave here, and the question of anybody watching this game now is very, very simple. Was it a fluke, or are FUEGO the real deal? Well, if they beat Enigma6, they certainly are. Big break coming in from E6, though, to take back this time. That should bring them more or less even as we go towards the next rotation.
So trying to do some damage, keeping in mind the next hill that is going to come about. Everybody is ready for that rotation in guard, and you see a majority of the FUEGO players already stacked up. They allow for the last few seconds to go toward Enigma6, lose the overall advantage, but no, they've got the map control in their favor. Looks like up close, big win for Mayhem. He and Rex doing some damage up close. They're dodging nades and finding some frags. Unfortunately, though, they get met with a double coming in from Hockey.
And this is a big hold, actually, from them. They've just managed to push them all completely out. What I would like to see here now, FUEGO are about to do it, and that is pushing out the lanes just a little bit. When you get control like that, that's exactly what you need to do.
Mayhem, some great work from the flank. Has the opportunity for the first, unfortunately cannot find the next one after that. But like I said, we talked about this rotation. These are nice, right? But the all-important one happens to come down inside a fountain. You can dodge the last 25 seconds, no big deal. It is about that next hill that both teams have their eye on.
It is. It certainly is. And look where FUEGO have set up. They are really kind of dictating the pace of this game. Enigma6 haven't been able to deal with them very much at all, apart from that first break into P1. Where have they been? You know, don't get me wrong, I may be over-egging it now. We're only into the 3rd rotation. But still, you know, this is a big hill for them if they can hold it. But unfortunately, they haven't. That is a great break by Enigma6. How on earth have FUEGO allowed that to happen?
I don't know, man. They made it look effortless. Like, this is regarded as one of the most difficult hills to try to break into in the entirety of the game. And E6 just walked through the front door and greet him on the way in. That was just fantastic plays coming through from these boys and getting some much valuable time considering the way that FUEGO broke off the beginning of this matchup. But Rex fighting a few, and we know how talented this guy Rex can be. We saw him, when it came down to Anaheim, have an incredible performance. E6 as of recent haven't looked stellar, but off the back of this guy, they're always going to be in a good spot.
They certainly are, and now we go into barrels, and Enigma6 have brought it back to pretty much level once again here. Neither team really able to get a big difference going as soon as we hit a different rotation. So Harry now on board with him. He's putting that pre-fire down. Unfortunately not able to make anything. QS goes in and he is going to get it as well. Hawkey goes down to Harry, but Harry manages to get 2 off the back, gets a 3rd as well. And somehow FUEGO Gaming walk away with the first control.
Fantastic stuff coming in from Harry as he pretty much gets set up very well by his teammates. But you notice the majority of those fights, they weren't all looking at him. As soon as they start to engage, though, that's when E6 starts to make their presence felt once more. It looks as if it will be back and forth constantly. That's what we know about when it comes into barrels. It's a very hectic type of fight. It's constant SOGs, it's Maddoxes, ICRs are few and far between. That's the one thing that FUEGO has looked fantastic at up to this point.
It has, and Hawkey doing some serious work. 25 seconds left to go. Just another player. That shadow helped him out massively there. Just keep pre-firing all around, but his teammates come in and clean it up as they head towards the next rotation, knowing that Barrels is completely locked down. They're going to go through the middle here. Players to both sides of them, but Harry and Chaxter linking up for those first kills.
Looks like Hockey taking some shots from the back, no worries.
Oh.
And he just decides to go and send Kismet back to the Shadow Realm. I don't know what that was about, but TAC 5 boost as well. starts to get engaged in FUEGO. They're ready for this hill. They're investing quite a bit, Brycey. They've got 2 different specialists, the War Machine as the other. And here comes the fly-ins. Hockey, though, is ready. And he's holding down that front door. Black Jacket is your friend, but that's going to be some streaks as well. FUEGO, they're looking fantastic, especially when it comes down to market.
This is now going to be the next big push from E6. That's going to push away from the door. They're now allowed to push in here as well. They get 2. Beezy gets them. And now they're going to try and get back into here, get the points back onto it, and it's going to be Hawkeye to try and do a little bit of work to hold them off. That's a snap. Unfortunately, he is going to go down. Reinforcements from both sides now flooding in. Jackster looking for this one. He is going to go down, and it looks like it's just gone in favor of Enigma6 as we move into this rotation.
E6, great stuff and great teamwork. You notice as they started to engage, they constantly were waiting for each other. There had to be a call out from them, letting them know, saying, hey, this is when we want to start the engagement. This is when we want to start, or rather, try and push in. And E6, known as a roster where they all want to be around the same scoreline. Not really one player is the star. They want to try to be kind of around that same scoreline. And that's kind of what E6's overall plan has been about ever since the initials, ever since they started back in Advanced Warfare. But Hockey 15-9, Bryce. He's got double streaks and does get silenced, but regardless, though, he's been having one crazy game.
He certainly has. And bearing in mind, we talk about FUEGO Gaming. We said that maybe it's their hard points that are their defining factor here, their strongest suit in the World Championship. So they're going to need to take this one to make it through and, make sure that if they get both hard points, then they just have to go to S&D or the control. That's the key for them here. They need to have a good first hard point.
And that's one thing, too, that NatCat was discussing coming into this tournament was, hey, like, we feel good in hard point, and we also feel fantastic when it comes into search and destroy. Both of these teams, right, E6, obviously, they 3-0 war. They're also kind of a question in terms of how well they're going to be playing at this event, so that was a good indicator for them. The fact that FUEGO is doing this, and as you talked about, kind of legitimizing their first series is incredibly impressive. They are here to play as 3 go down again, and E6 are reset.
Having streaks to break that hill is unbelievably potent. You get the kills on the back, your teammates are allowed to flood in, they have to kind of get out of cover, so they either have to push into some of the rooms or just hope that they don't get hit by that hellstorm. So it completely shatters any hold you can hope to have here on Back Statue. And now, FUEGO Gaming are about to push the 200-point mark against Enigma6.
Starting to get a little bit grim. It's starting to get scary. Kismet trying to pick up the pieces. He's got a few of his teammates around, and thankfully, they are going to be the Zogs. Pressing from one angle. There goes Kismet inside of Pool Hall, and it looks as if GodRx drops as well, and that will be a successful hold from FUEGO as they are within just 30 seconds.
Yeah, push towards barrels. Let's see what's available for them. Hawkeye gets another big kill for himself. Looking for this last player. He knows he's here. Pre-firing all around from teammate ends up going down, but Hawkeye's still alive. And somehow continuing to do the business. Has a cluster hit. Going to try and get it out if he can, but he knows he's being pushed. Is he able to get out of this one? Oh, tries to turn and burn. Not quite able to. FUEGO within striking distance of taking map number 1 here against E6. But E6 now have control of barrels. Can they make this comeback? Out comes the war chest. War Machine now being used.
See if Mayhem can put this one to use. They absolutely need him to go big right now. Unfortunately, it's just hit markers, but we'll see if they can start to capitalize. As you mentioned here, Brycey, this is E6 just trying to stay afloat, just trying to stay alive in this game right now. FUEGO have been looking stellar. However, when it comes into barrels, this has been their roaming place. However, Jackster comes through, takes down a double with the grab slam. Granted, some valuable seconds still remaining, but E6, a great hold, but this has only got to continue.
Yeah, they've got to continue playing it flawless here. FUEGO Gaming, it's not an upset yet, but they could take map 1 here off Enigma6. And out comes now, looks like the Purifier's being used. General ends up going, killing Mayhem with a trophy. Doesn't happen very often. Connor using the Purifier even more here. FUEGO Gaming still in control. It's just 20 seconds left for them to get this first map. A so important map for them. And you're going to see Madcat with his temper. He's going to look for him as well. Managed to get it. Not able to get away. The cluster grenade takes him down. And Enigma6 find a break.
This could be their opportunity. This is what they're looking for. Here comes Hockey, though, toward the back. Unfortunately, he does get silenced as FUEGO are just on the cusp. They're getting so close to locking this one down. However, E6, they've got plenty of supply. When it comes down in middle, throwing bodies inside of the hill, trying to keep this one close, and they are bringing this one back, it seems. A big situation, though, is FUEGO. They break back in. However, they can't win off this hill. They have to be on the rotation. But Mad Cat, I think he might have got close to winning those fights. He does end up getting taken down, but here's the rotation. This is FUEGO's opportunity, and Hockey, he does have streaks, Bryce.
Hockey not only has streaks, but he's going to have the War Machine. The War Machine is out. Everything now being thrown in this one. Kismet gets 2. He takes down Hockey as well. That's the War Machine being thrown out. Harry now alone. He's going to try and get the concussion out. Does manage to. The rest of his team is spawning at the back. It's going to be a pinch. They're pushing in here now, FUEGO. Just 11 seconds. They've got control, and they're going to pre-fire the church door. Surely FUEGO Gaming have now got this locked. Enigma6, one last roll of the dice. They have to go in. The trades are going out. Both teams flooding as much as they can. X goes down, and FUEGO Gaming win-win map number 1 against Enigma6, and the dream continues for this team.
FUEGO are here, man. They are here to play. And I gotta be honest too, like, it was E6 making the comeback at the end. This could have been an even more dominant performance, which is scary to think about. Teams here at CWL Champs do not play this roster, do not play FUEGO on Seaside. They have looked stellar in their game prior to this one versus Gen G, and they look more dominant here versus E6. And I got to say, that's probably a lot of confidence for them. I mean, that's obviously going to be going on in their mind as well, saying, hey, you know, we beat Gen G. It was a game 5. We took both respawns, but is it going to continue? Is it going to kind of, you know, be able to further itself? And based off of that first hardpoint, man, they're here and they're ready.
They certainly are. It's a Cinderella story. FUEGO, see, I cast FUEGO and Miami.
Right.
They looked rough. It didn't look like a connected team. It didn't look like they, you know, they had a ton of weaknesses. It was very inconsistent from them.
Right.
They come into this event. They beat Gen G, and it was a close game. It went all the way to map number 5, and the people are going, well, maybe it's just Gen G being slow. They're now playing Enigma6. They just took the first map, and you are right. It could have been more dominating.
It's not as if E6 hasn't been playing well this weekend. They 3-0'd Team War, and we know, obviously you know more better than anybody, Team War, a fantastic roster. They showed a lot of their skill sets when it came down to the CWL Amateur Finals there in Miami. So those boys, they're not a bad team by any means. So E6 coming into this one, I thought, had just as much momentum as FUEGO did, all things considered. But all that momentum is now silenced coming into what should be a very interesting search and destroy. And like we said, kind of coming into this one, Mad Cat had discussed constantly saying, hey, we feel good about Hardpoint. We feel even better about search and destroy. So we'll have to see how that one plays out. But like I said, FUEGO, they could be on the cusp of being up 2-0 and versus 2 of the best teams in their pool, Bryce.
Yeah, it's an insane story. Yes. But I don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
Exactly, I know, right?
I'm sitting here, I'm going, it's still E6. There's still so much to happen in this bracket. Bearing in mind, you know, the ways it could work, you know, E6 could be Gen G. Gen G could be E6. Yeah. We could be seeing a triple tie. We have, you know, Team War could be any of these teams, we still think. Anything could happen. It could be one of the craziest groups. But it already is probably the craziest group here at the World Championships.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see a 4-way tie.
And that's the thing, too, a 4-way tie. That would be interesting.
That's what I want to see, 4-way tie.
That would make for an interesting few matchups. That's without question, right? But the one positive, too, to kind of allude to your point, Gen G, the massive thing they kind of take away is at least we won 2 maps, right? When it comes down to things, if you're losing series, if you go to Game 5, it's not the worst of situations, just because obviously map count starts to play a factor. So for E6, they're in a great spot. They won 3-0. So like you said, to kind of allude to your point, FUEGO, while they are in a good spot, it's by no means comfortable because there are a lot of teams out there that are in their group that are also pretty up when it comes down to the map counts as well.
Yeah. I always feel nervous around that situation because 3-way ties do happen.
Oh, yeah,
and it's actually more the fact that FUEGO dropped 2 maps means that it could play into that tiebreaker situation later on. I don't like tiebreaker situations, so fingers crossed there isn't one that actually ends up happening.
Exactly, right.
But it's by no means over. Like I said, this group is very, very tight. When we spoke about it, we were actually more concerned about every team but FUEGO. Yeah. And then FUEGO go, no, we're going to upset your group completely. Exactly. All predictions go in the bin. We've got to see the S&D. If they win this S&D, it's chaos.
It absolutely is, right? I mean, it is literally going to be total chaos. The one thing about E6 is that they have to win the search and destroy, as Control has been their worst mode as of recent, as they've kind of made this new team kind of come about, which has, you know, come with a few questions. A lot of people have been saying, E6, why did they change their roster after constant top 6 placements and whatnot? But they do not want to see that Control as a lineup up to this point, Brycey. They are 1-4. So if you're E6, Hacienda, this is where you got to get it done. This is a lot for them that is riding on this. We know how talented both of these rosters, all 10 of these players can be when it comes in a champs, E6 more specifically, but Fuego, what an opportunity this would be. What a chance it would be for Mad Cat and the boys after such a difficult year to come through champs and to dominate the first two lineups. It would be a story, but Hacienda, this is where they've got to get it done.
It certainly is. Well, all bets are off now. Fuego doing serious work. Let's see if they can continue to have this Cinderella story as we go on to the attack with them on Hacienda Search and Destroy. And right now, A control pretty much in their control.
Yeah, E6, swing and a miss, nobody at B whatsoever, which is going to be nearly unfortunate, but Bomb gets down pretty much unscathed, and you notice they've got a lot of focus when it comes down to Connector. That is their primary target right now. Here come the engagements. Connor drops first.
Big rig take coming in here. Hawkey managed to get one. Hawkey gets two. That's massive for the Deluxe swing down. Magat's trying to make a play. He managed to get through against BZ, but doesn't eventually get traded out. 2 versus 1, though. It is. Oh, that's already done. Chaxter gets 2 at the same time, and I have to give props to Hawkey. Holding the angle he did. They went down 2 kills. He managed to bring that trade back. So important for that to happen.
And I feel like every match that I've seen from Hawkey and the boys from Fuego, he has been their primary player. I think, in the hardpoint he finished like 23 and 14, something along those lines. This guy, Hawkey, man, he's used to obviously the bright stage. I mean, for those who remember, right, that top 4 placement from Fab back in Black Ops 3, he's been on the brightest of stages, and it's always been kind of an interesting dynamic to see he and Mad Cat kind of leading this group of young guns. And boy, is that leadership coming in clutch and massive search and destroys like this.
Well, if you're Enigma6, you need to get a few rounds on the board here just to regain after that.
Yeah.
But now, this is always a difficult retake, I find. Don't want to be Chaxter trying to get there close, and Chaxter, I thought he was going to win that gunfight. Saw the health going down the other player. Some kismet, but bomb down, and Harry ends up going down to General on the other side of the map. This looks like it's Enigma6's to lose. Fuego aren't in the best of position for it. Hawkey goes down as well. Chaxter's now having to try and make a move. Mad Cat finally gets one, but they just only have a 2 versus 4. He goes down as well. Mad Cat's in the water, and Mad Cat goes down. Yeah. Easy round there.
Definitely, right? That one was much needed for E6's overall confidence. They lose that hard point in a dominant way. The first search and destroy round looks pretty dominant as well, so a good situation here for E6. We'll watch this best play of the round come through from good old Adam, a.k.a. GodRx, the Southern man himself. That was a big frag, though, to find on Mad Cat. He was kind of the one player that, as you were kind of giving that call, that I was a little bit worried about that could ruin it for E6. He's able to make that flank when it comes into water, cause a little bit of chaos. It could have started to spur things a little bit for E6, but they hold on, they regain, and now they're level.
Well, let's see how this ends up playing up. And very similar, actually, to the very first round. Easy push here for Fuego into A, and Enigma6 go and stack B in middle again, and it doesn't work for them. And is this going to be an almost carbon copy?
It looks like it.
A little bit better maybe positioning from Enigma6. They've got a bigger pinch they're able to do if they can get past Mad Cat at the back. But Hawkey's in the same position. Connor's in the same position. It's the same story. Can Enigma6 do better this time around? Oh, they're switching Connor out of position. Already one goes down. They're just trying to get these trades again here. It's the same thing, you know. Enigma6 pushing forward. Trying to get it. Oh, Connor not quite able to get that second snap, but they have the advantage here. Goes down. It's now a 2 versus 2. Chaxter versus Breezy in general. 1 versus 2. 11 seconds left to go. He just has to play time. Looking for it. 7 seconds. No! Just get taken down. And it will be a great play there from Breezy to make that right call and hit Connector at the right time. They get the defuse, and Enigma6 take that round.
Man, by the skin of their teeth, right? That literally came down to the wire. Brezzy, when he was inside a Connector, and props to him, because in that situation, he has no idea, I believe, where that last player was hiding at. So a huge round for him. If he does not find that particular kill, there is no defuse and there is no round that ends up going their way. Despite it really coming down to the absolute end, Brezzy, a big situation in Chaxter, just jumps out a little bit sooner. Anything. I mean, it really comes down to COD timing at that point, but E6 will receive the more positives in that situation. And speaking of Brezzy, right, 4-2 for him. General 4-1 off the break.
Well, let's see. Enigma6 have managed to take control of this game. Back-to-back round wins. And it looks like they're going for that A site as well. Both teams choosing to kind of give it up and play the retake game on it. FUEGO do have a few bodies here in the area, but not a full stack quite yet, and that means they probably will wait to commit. Now, it looks like they're going to hard force it, which means they all come in from one direction. Only Connor is going to be the player who could possibly move to do something else. But this is a difficult force.
These players trying to make their way inside fences, and it looks as if that will be 2 cut down off the rip. Hockey, Harry, Chaxer, and all left up to the vet Madcat, a 1v5, and he will get swarmed there at the end as E6 will rifle through 3 straight. And it looks as if, I mean, most teams are just kind of feeling confident with that retake opportunity, which, you know, in that last situation for FUEGO doesn't really work out in the best of situations. But I think for me, it's going to come down to who wants to hit the opposite side eventually? Who wants to try to go toward that rock statue, as that is constantly going to be playing in the defense's mind. And that's probably why we've seen E6 and Co kind of force as many players as they have toward the opposite side, is just because they're waiting for that situation to finally occur.
Well, Enigma6 making this S&D their own so far. And it could have been 2-2, but FUEGO Gaming sort of threw it away on that last attack they had, where they had the bomb down. And again, more kills coming in. Enigma6 have managed to get those first blood at the same time. Bring it to a 3 versus 3. Oh my goodness! FUEGO Gaming somehow coming out on top here and now have the numbers. Connor needs to get out of that position. I don't know why he pre-aimed that as long as he did. Looking for, unfortunately, Chax is there to bring it back, and now it's a 1 versus 2. And Breezy is getting out of there.
If you wanted someone to be in this situation, though, it would be the man who currently finds himself on a 5 spree.
He just needs 1 kill for a streak as well. That's massive.
The positive is right, he's on defense. He has to allow for the enemy to make the engagements. They have to force the issue.
They're going this way as well. Is this going to be him? He's going to get a little bit of timing here, and he gets one. That's a lightning strike for him, but does go down. Lose the round, but gets the streak. Every cloud has a silver lining. Just turns out that Breezy's has a lightning strike in it.
Right, so that will be a good situation for them. Kind of like as this one kind of gets closed down, it will be something nice for the boys on E6. But that is a much-needed round if you are FUEGO, right? You've gone 3, you've lost every single one of them, and you're able to finally catch it back. And Chaxter, I know we were looking at the kill feed for most of this fight, but just rifles through a few and took down General as well. Those kind of top positions when it comes down to those hallways is always crucial toward the start of these rounds. And a lot of times SOGs, they don't really get their opportunity because of how long lines of sight those are. But Chaxter, when given the opportunity, will absolutely seize it.
Oh, let's see. Let's see here. It looks like another big A push coming in, and bearing in mind, if they get this down, Breezy can technically play around his lightning strike. It is a possibility for them to do here. Not sure they're going to need to. It may be more of a last-ditch effort if they start losing numbers. But they had this hold last time around, and this is the exact same play from FUEGO, and they got absolutely smoked. They were not able to make the kills. Madcat trying to use that ICR to dig them out, but he's left in a 1 versus 3 again. It's the same scenario.
Yeah, there he goes. And that's the thing, I think, for FUEGO, it's a matter of realizing what is working for E6, because constantly we've seen them go to this site, and what do? FUEGO, they have no opportunity. They have no one pushed up enough to at least allow for a trade. So I think for the future defensive rounds for FUEGO, they have to be aware of what's working for E6 and do something to counter it, right? Maybe play more aggressive up close. Look for trades. Try to catch them off guard. Utilize stuns, nades, anything that you have in the arsenal when aware or when they are able to be utilized. But
the thing is, FUEGO have done the same thing, but when you saw Enigma6's break, they were much more spread out on the map.
Right.
FUEGO are all hitting the same direction, and that's allowing Enigma6 to basically all point guns in the same place to get those crossfires on. So, Enigma6, oh, here we go. There's the ping. He's just pinged. That's just a ping. May wait a few seconds to actually drop the lightning strike.
yeah,
That's not an uncommon tactic. There we go. This is exactly what I was talking about. You ping it, you wait a few seconds. Is that bomb going to go down? It is, but they may be too late. There may be bodies going down for them.
they escape.
Oh, not Connor. Connor goes down. Madcat gets kissed, but it's a 3 versus 3. Good shots coming out from Hawkey. Again here, holding down Connector. A little bit of trouble, though. He's going to try and make this one with an ICR. Not going to quite happen. And now it's Madcat in a 1 versus 2. 25 seconds left to go. They're looking for him. They're trying to figure it out. Madcat needs to win that one. It's massive for him. And now incoming Trey. Surely is he going to get seen? He has. They're going to try and get him. And General goes full commit and gets Madcat before Madcat can get out. And that means Enigma6 go 5-2 up in this series.
And that's so unfortunate, right, for Mad Cat in that spot. Obviously, not the most common player to have a SOG in his hands, but still gets the work done in the first. And in that situation, what do you want to do? You want to try to back up. You want to try to make the enemy feel uncomfortable. So props to General, right? Not many players are willing to make that push knowing where, or rather kind of having the back of your mind that the enemy knows exactly where you're coming from. So the fact that he rushes that one out, fully aware that his position is known to Mad Cat, you got to give him some props for it. But a huge situation of which, if FUEGO could have clutched that one out, we're looking at a totally different scoreline. But 5-2, E6, the utilized streak's fantastic, and see if they can finally plan onto an opposite bomb side, as this has been a time and time again.
Yeah, I mean, Mad Cat, he had to make a choice there, and he went for the slide across, and unfortunately it went wrong for him, but there we go. Oh, this is over. it's basically over. Like those first 2 bloods, that's done. It's now, oh, wait a minute, Connie gets 2. I know it's done. See, I called it. I should have just stuck with my gut. I knew it was done. As soon as those first 2 went down, it's too hard to trade out in that scenario. But there we go. Enigma6 bring it back to 1-1 versus FUEGO. And he said we thought that was a very big map for FUEGO if they could take it. Unfortunately, they could not. Not as kind of happy about their control. I don't think it's as dominant as it could be. And maybe, you know, Enigma6 can now take full control of this game.
Yeah, and I think they gained a lot of confidence in that situation. And I know a few of these rounds kind of came down to very close quarter fights, General kind of making clutches. So I think for the entire camp in that area, they're feeling a lot better about themselves. And like I said, I thought that map was super important for E6 because of how bad they've recently been in control, as you noted. So I think that's a huge W for them. I'm curious to see their play in control, though, because they obviously took down War on it, which to my knowledge, War is actually pretty decent when it comes into control. So that is going to be, you know, interesting kind of facet. But E6 coming away with that W, it's going to be nice for them, and we'll see how the next game kind of carries on. FUEGO, they've looked fantastic when it comes into respawns. Can they do it again?
Yeah, it'd be very interesting because control's kind of that blend, right? You know, you've got to have that fast twitch respawn game going on, but you've also got to be a little bit more control at the S&D. And there were times on that S&D where you just thought, well, maybe they didn't get the correct positioning they wanted to, and a few things went against it. But Enigma6 really just started taking more and more kind of dominance on that game, especially around the A-bomb side. They looked almost unparalleled. And I don't know, for FUEGO, you know, it's kind of the first kind of little bit of a problem we've seen for them. But, you know, Gen G win map 5, so I don't know. They could win both respawns and we could go to another map 5. Wouldn't surprise me.
It really wouldn't at this point, based on the way that FUEGO's been playing, based off the way that this pool has been working. I think any result in any game mode really wouldn't shock us all that much. But I'm just excited to have a good series kind of on our marks right now. I think, what, have you had all 3 O's up to this point?
No. I had the first 3-1 of the day, and then the rest have just flown by.
Mine both were hot 3 O's. I had like a 6-0 in Search and Destroy, a 3-0 in Control, and the one prior, I think, was Legend status ended up getting marked down, but I'm excited. We have at least a guaranteed game 4, which I'm hype about. Another respawn, and I think I want to say maybe I want to say that hardpoint was also played again for FUEGO, but I could be wrong. I know at least the game 5 Search and Destroy was played when they took down Genji, so there is that to look forward to. If we get to that game 5 situation, we know that FUEGO are good, and we know that they're good on that map.
Yeah, we certainly do. All right, well, we'll find out all this information right after the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you after this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the World Championships. We are going into our map number 3. It's FUEGO versus Enigma6. My name is Bryce. Over here, Landon. Landon, how are you?
I'm doing great, Bryce. How about yourself?
Well, you know, I feel a little bit sick. My back hurts, and I'm quite tired. But other than that, very excited for Call of Duty. Let's get into this one. It is going to be Seaside Control. And the question remains, do FUEGO have enough to take down Enigma6 here? Because we were very happy after map 1. We thought, you know, this FUEGO Cinderella story was developing. Yeah. We get into the S&D and turns out to be one of the ugly sisters.
Yeah. That's a very good point to bring up, right? I mean,
ugly stepsisters? Yes, ugly stepsisters.
Yeah, you got it. But yeah, a lot to see, right? FUEGO, a lot of questions kind of coming onto this roster right now, but the only one they're worried about is how do they handle defense, and it looks as if not so great, Brycey. 5 down off the rip. That should be a spawn push already for the boys on E6, and that seems to be the case right now, but instantly clotheslined, it seems.
They're going to need what is known in the business, clinically, as a full regain. Now, FUEGO, already done this many points, they're going to need like a big morale boost. But I am worried about this team in terms of that, about how much it could go wrong for them.
I like, would that be Mad Cat and Hockey who have to kind of raise the spirits in the situation?
I think Mad Cat's to be the one who raises the spirits first of all, because he's playing with that fire today. I'm hoping that's exactly what he does. He's not usually one of the loudest players in game, or with it, but you always see these big celebrations afterwards. And now they need it more than ever. They need some fire in the booth if they're going to come against Enigma6, because that was a devastating first wipe.
Yeah, it absolutely was. Right, it's going to lose a little bit of their confidence for sure. As Mad Cat, pretty much from the back lines, trying to watch over the troops and carry them forward, but all of them fall. As look at that player count differential, 20-9, and FUEGO. I don't even know if it's possible for them to get inside of the zone because of how far back they've been pushed. This is going to go E6's way, no matter how you try to look at it. So I got to say, the one thing that is kind of shocking for me, Hockey, 1-5. He has been their man when it's came down to the respawns more primarily. And after that first round going down the way that he did, the way that the team was just constantly silenced, because it came down to like 2 or 3 team pushes, and it wasn't as if it was close, Brycey. It was like 4 or 5 down instantly. Mad Cat watched everybody just in front of him drop it's like literally just in a matter of a second.
Yeah, you got to worry about morale at this point as well. You lose up the S&D, you get it bodied, then you go into control, and you get stomped. Like that first round was a complete stomping. FUEGO had nothing. They actually gave the round up and just stayed in their spawn towards the end because they knew they couldn't make it. They didn't want to give any more kills away to the enemy team. They need some fire. Like, look at the amount of kills they actually ended up getting that round. Only Connor really putting up 4 to 6. Everybody else 1 to 5, 2 to 5, 2 to 3. Just nothing happened for them.
And I'm worried, too, how they're going to try to hold on to this, because in this situation, this is E6 having to engage. If FUEGO tried to do that, they were put in a pretty awkward position. So we'll get to watch FUEGO, what their idea is, and how they want to try to hold on to B, because teams have a lot of interesting holds. Is it a matter of allowing for a little bit of contention when it comes into B, or is it a full-on stack inside a church? It looks as if FUEGO, off the rip, are taking down heads and not looking back, as they will win that first engagement.
Yeah, a bit of a bigger play for them, finally getting the kills down. General actually prevents them pushing out into the spawn at this point. General comes under fire there. Hawkeye giving him the slidey dip. Manages to completely take him down. Traxter looking, he knows there's now players into A. He's leading forward as well. He's seen .RX. Easy kill for him there at the same time. They're now going to get the pinch, and Harry gets one as well. They're both going to slide in here and look for this last player. It's sure. Oh, Breezy says no. Says, I've got something in my pocket. And that is not going to be good enough.
Oh no. Hockey, you gotta win that one, my friend. He had the nade, he had everything in that situation. So back and forth we go. It is a matter of FUEGO instantly replying to E6's calls, and Brezzy unfortunately gets taken down from the back. So good spot for FUEGO. When the dust settles, they have won the fights, and you do notice though, on the top side of that screen, 2 ticks at B, 1 tick at A. The progression from E6 at this point has not been bad by any means.
It is Brezzy 12-3, ridiculous score from him. FUEGO do have the kills at the moment, but like I said before, Control has a number of ways that can go bad very, very quickly. One bad full set of trades. And that's what's kind of happening around here. You can actually see, FUEGO in a little bit of a bad spot considering how many ticks are actually going down. That second A tick, if it hits, it's devastating to FUEGO's game, and it has. Massive player from Kismet to get that. And now you got to wonder, has FUEGO got enough here? The kills are all even. Looking for it. Kismet goes up high, looking for the flank, trying to get somebody. Nobody there for him. Oh my goodness, Kismet is going berserk. And the cannon now slow them down. It's a bad situation for FUEGO Gaming. Enigma6 have done so much here.
They have. Like I said, they've pretty much got a lot of work done in these initial pushes, which is what every team wants to do on offense and control. You want to try to get some work done at both of those control points, and they have done exactly that. Like you mentioned, 1 minute and 30 seconds, and it's all about the tick. Here come the lives, though. Here comes the fight. Jackster trying to hold on to that tank. However, he's not aware of the massive flank that E6 is trying to force as a ton of FUEGO players begin to drop, and it is a 10v4 position. And FUEGO, they look to be done here. This should be E6 going up 2-0, and that will be the case, as they've got streaks. They've got everything going for them right now.
They certainly do, and right now Enigma6 are running this operation.
Yeah.
They've seen the control, and I don't know, FUEGO just don't seem like they're in the right position
different
for it.
team almost.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's just hardpoint.
So do Enigma6. Kismet.
Yeah.
Kismet doing just ridiculous work. From look at this, they had like so much control for it. Mayhem stay alive here. Gaze the shoulder. That's Hawkeye looking for him. He ends up getting challenged here by Harry, and still comes out with the win.
Yeah, in that situation for FUEGO, you have to have a trade, right? You have 2 players at either doorway, And the fact that one of you drops without the other instantly replying is usually not the best of things. And obviously, that situation, there's a lot going on. There's a decent amount of fights going through, but for FUEGO, you need something. As you talked about earlier, right? They need some communication, some positives coming in from Mad Cat. They need a solid performance from Hockey, currently sitting at 4-9, the lowest amount of kills, not just for his team, but for the entirety of the lobby. So here come the streaks, here comes the work. As if that will be the punch for Jackster. Regardless of that, though, Hockey's just aware of what could be coming from the skies. So those streaks will dissipate regardless of that. Rex takes down 2. The positives roll on for E6.
They really do, and now it's FUEGO. They have to make a big push here and look for it. Player going over the top. Godrex is going to call that one out, and he ends up getting it. General's backing him up at the same time, and FUEGO Gaming can barely move out of their own spawn without coming under the guns of Enigma6. This has gone about as bad for them as it can do.
I feel like they need a team push together. You see them, they're so spread across the map right now. Player number 1 trying to do some damage, but no avail. They need to be together. That barrels push, I get it, but TAC 5 boost, that's going to allow for E6 to be in a much better spot. Here come the streaks, and that is only going to silence FUEGO for the time. And speaking of the time, 25 seconds left, and they have got to get a push in here soon.
Trying to get in, and now Mayhem's bringing out the War Machine. That could be all over now for FUEGO. They have to make this one last push. It has to be magnificent. But can they manage to do it? Mad Cat tries to go in with the RK7, get shut down. It's now the oh my goodness, it's coming out. Vision's out. They know exactly where they are. They have a grenade. Breezy's prepping it ready for him. He knows the player's there. Cook, bang. Unfortunately, not able to get that player, but it will end up getting the kill at the same time. Takes down Harry. Breezy says thank you very much. Players all around. Enigma6, easy control for them. And what looked like FUEGO could be coming out running has come down to a 2-1 for Enigma6.
Yeah, and that was a dominant display from E6 from beginning to end. I mean, off the first team fight of the first round, it was like, okay, this is an E6 lineup that clearly feels confident in control, and I talked about it. They were 1-4 as a roster right now. Prior to that, though, the old team was incredible, actually, at control, so maybe kind of back to their old strengths, back to the old guard, and E6, though, they looked incredible when it came down to that one, and now the conversation gets focused to FUEGO. You've looked good constantly, right, when you're in your series versus Genji, and already up to this point versus E6. They've looked great when it comes down to the hard points, but can they continue to rely upon it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm worried. I really am worried after that.
Here's the benefit, though. Fortunately, FUEGO are good at hardpoint.
Yes.
They are good at hardpoint. They can take this to a map 5, and map 5 exists in a magical world of Call of Duty where anything could happen.
It's true.
Even, you know, it's weird, right? I've always spoken about this. Is while we talk about teams having great S&D, I've always felt like Game 5s exist almost like it's a separate game type sometimes.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
It's like a whole different world. There's so much pressure going on. We always see like the most spectacular plays in SD come out in Game 5s. It's like a whole different world. But FUEGO have to get there. And Enigma6 clearly going to be riding high after those last 2 maps. They have put in a dominating performance. You got a question. I'd love to just be a fly on the wall in the comms of FUEGO right now.
Yeah, I think that's probably Mad Cat trying to give the comms and Hockey trying to regain. I think he finished like 6-14 in that last game, which you cannot have in terms of the respawns. We've talked about how obviously FUEGO have looked good when it comes to the respawns. It's mostly, like we said, just been hardpoint, but as you discussed, that Game 5 Search and Destroy, it is a different beast, and you could argue too that Game 5 Search and Destroy at Champs is an even bigger beast with a ton of pressure just to get out of pools. I mean, you have everybody in the world watching you right now, and this is your year, right? If you had a slow year up to this point in terms of the way that everything has kind of worked out, not being in the Pro League, obviously for the side of FUEGO, this could turn it all around, right? All those negatives. I mean, even Mad Cat talked about how he even considered retiring for a short time. This changes everything.
Well, I actually spoke to him earlier about that. It's an interesting fact you bring that up.
Yeah.
He said if he can't make this happen, he's ready. He's got like a job lined up the month after this.
Oh, man.
Like if he can't make it work, it's done for him. So he's coming into this with serious fire, and obviously, you know, he's thinking, you know, what happens to me? Who's going to pick me up next year if we don't do the business here at Champs? I'm done. Like, I'm just done.
I hate to hear that, man. I hate to hear that.
It's disappointing.
It absolutely is, right? I mean, Mad Cat has been a staple for the Call of Duty community, obviously, you know, more specifically with Europe, but just in general for so long. And I know one of the kind of the main talking points that he had coming into this week was, we have nothing to lose. Yeah. Absolutely nothing to lose. And obviously, as you mentioned, right, this could be his very last tournament, which off the back of this game versus E6 means everything. They want to try to get to that Game 5. They want to be in their comfort zone, at least when it comes down to their last series versus KG. But how will Arsenal play out? How will this one start to look? As up to this point, we talk about FUEGO looking incredible when it comes down to this game mode. This map, though, it means everything, Bryce.
It certainly does. It certainly does. Let's see whether or not FUEGO can live up to the gas they've already been getting from the community in terms of hardpoint. Very curious to see if it's just a case of maybe, you know, SD and Control not being their bag, or if it's a morale thing. And we'll find out very, very quickly. Very, very quickly, we will find out what is about to happen in this hardpoint. I feel if like FUEGO start off slow, it's over.
I totally agree with you on that one. I think a lot of the comms are probably down right now. They need a performer. A lot of times when you're down in the game, you need someone to rise to the occasion. You need that one player, just regardless of the result, to go off, and we'll see who that can be for FUEGO. A lot of players have had a solid performance for them so far throughout their series, but I think in my mind it needs to be at least Hockey in some capacity. He needs to kind of have a turnaround game. A 6-14 performance in the Control is not going to get it done.
It isn't. Now they're looking towards guns going for this one, and you can see Chax is trying to get the reinforcements in here as well. And that's a big push out from Enigma6, not letting them get anywhere near this middle point, and they're getting shut down in every single direction. Enigma6 looking like they just want to put this one to bed.
Natcat, though, trying to make a push, but he's got that RK7 in hand, and he will get the first kill, at least on to Kismet. So a big rush kind of toward this gun side, which would be toward weapon testing. And if you do have that spawn, it is going to be necessary, which of course is what FUEGO has got locked down right now. They're making a lot of this one, Brycey, and boy, do they need the points.
They certainly do. Chax going up for it, looking for it, gets a kill at the same time. And now they have an opportunity to get some points. That's a big push out. They managed to get this first rebuff here. Enigma6 still in the lead. And GodRx getting 2. Dangerous times now for FUEGO, because here comes a severe stack over it. They're looking for a way in. Madcat's holding down the ICR. GodRx, though, does a great job again with Chax. Ends up shooting his teammate in the head, but they've got bonded into it. Hawkey tries to get it. It's not going to be able to. Enigma6 flooding in and just winning gunfights. GodRx has gone absolutely insane to lock this one down. And oh my goodness, GodRx is playing out of his freaking mind.
GodRx, slow down a little bit, buddy. Save the rest for your teammates. Currently on a 6 spree, he's got that lightning strike 45 away from the hailstorm, as that was just little by little taking down pieces from FUEGO. And I think, that was like 2 players. It was like a 3v5 situation that just kept being replicated. So GodRx going off for the roster. Everyone knew how well he played at Anaheim. Could he replicate it when it comes down to the most important event of the year? 10-2. We'll see if he can keep it up.
GodRx eventually goes down, but he did manage to get his Hellstorm before that ended up happening. And FUEGO Gaming, after getting that control, was just completely torn apart by one player who stayed alive and used his teammates to bait him out. And GodRx gets 4, one of them his teammates, but that's a good trade. Oh, he gets another one. That's a 5-man Hellstorm, one of his own team. They are looking good, and it looks like the ACOG is coming out on the ICR for General.
The General, obviously very well known for pulling a number of different strategies, and this may be the call right here. Obviously, a very long lines of sight. Anything that kind of focus your attention in, you've got to utilize it. But E6 off the rip, right? Pretty much 126 and have not looked back. GodRx, a major factor though so far in this game, as we have discussed. 14-4. Brycey, 2 of his teammates have 3 kills. He has twice the amount of them combined.
It's just a big showing from him. They can't do anything against him right now. Admittedly, some of that's coming from the streaks that he did manage to put down, but FUEGO Gaming are crumbling. They are going to bits. They are a daffodil in a wind tunnel.
Oh, okay. Starting to wither away. It really is looking like that, right? I mean, they're just trying to... They have 5 players here. If they don't make something happen, it's starting to look grim, and literally... They get clotheslined at a half, RKO'd, whatever you want to throw out there. E6 gave him the finisher, and now they are going to be off the next rotation. They're feeling confident. They're just leaving 1 player in there, and that's no big deal, as FUEGO running right into the blender.
Yeah, it looks like at this point FUEGO won the race in the quarter mile, but it turns out it's Le Mans. It's a 24-hour, and it seems like Enigma6 have it in them to go the distance. Just look at this. there's no kills coming out of them. Chaps is 2 and 12. 4 and 10 for Harry, 4 and 11 for Connor, 5 and 10 for Hawkeye. Madcat's the only player actually positive on that roster, and he's 12 and 9. But it's not enough.
Yeah.
It's not enough.
If there was ever a moment, it has to be now. Madcat got to pull himself up by the bootstraps. Has to keep FUEGO alive right now, as this, like you said, is looking incredibly grim, but you can't allow for E6 to get to that 200-point mark. I mean, just based off morale alone, you look at that scoreboard and say, man, we got a massive mountain to climb. We're looking down when it comes down to this series just to stay alive for a game number 5, of which we could somewhat or may not look favorable in compared to how that search and destroy looks. So, FUEGO, they need something. They need everything, if you will. As that rotation comes through, we'll see how they start to change things, but boy, do they have that mountain to climb.
They do, and Connor's trying desperately to get in there, not quite able to. His teammate cleans it up, but they have control of this rotation, and that could be a benefit for them. Are they going to be able to turn this one around? Over 120 points down as we go into our next set of rotations, and they're looking for a kill that comes up. Looks for Hawkeye, easy kill for him there as well, and now they're trying to flood in. They've got it, the incoming Hellstorm by the sound of it. Doesn't actually manage to get anything. Harry ends up getting 2 here as they're trying to shut this one down. Harry gets another as well. Kisman has to back off as his teammates evaporate from him. FUEGO finally getting some points onto the board here. But it's still a mountain. It's still a ridiculous ascent to overcome Enigma6 in this game.
Here comes Madcat, ready for that future rotation, but gets cut down. Bryson, that was so huge. If he stays alive, it allows for that lane to be cleared out. It allows for FUEGO to pretty much send all 5 players in 2 out of the 3 lanes, but he gets silenced. The other players follow as well, and then it's going to be E6. You see, they're already pushing up to their enemy's gun side. That is how confident they feel at this moment. However, Hockey comes through. Kismet finds a triple with the grab slam, and back to the respawn screen we go as E6 already nearly at that 200-point mark, and they are all guns ablaze. Got our X 23 and 8. FUEGO, it has to happen now.
It does. It has to happen in an amazing way as well. He tries to get the shot punch going down, tries to go down. X continues to open up on them. He's now 25 and 9, and Madcat is trying to do some work. Unfortunately, he just doesn't have any reinforcements. He goes for the challenge and goes down, and there's just nothing that's happening for FUEGO. They can't even get out of the 100-point club at this point.
Here comes the Tempest. Here comes the up-close fights, and yeah, they just constantly getting silenced one after another as General. He's getting a little bit electric right now. Unfortunately, he's not able to finalize that 1 kill. So, FUEGO, at least off the rip, will have all 5 players up. But you've got to imagine at this point, the way the scoreline works, the way that it's seeming, is that E6 are going to close out this series and advance past FUEGO, a very solid FUEGO Gaming roster who dominated in terms of hardpoint in their last series versus Gen G. They pulled out the upsets. They looked fantastic in the first hardpoint, but this looks like 2 totally different teams right now, Bryce.
It really does. The General going in for this one, and somehow he keeps making it work with that variable, so I don't know how he keeps doing it close range with an ICR. But Mayhem and GodRx teaming up there to lock them back out again. Madcat trying to do all of the work he can. TAC 5 now coming in for GodRx. And it's 234 to 103. FUEGO Gaming. They had that first hurrah in the first half point, but ever since then, Enigma6 have made it look easy. And that still gives us trouble in the group. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of talking about all the different scenarios that are going to happen when it comes down to this group as things definitely starting to turn around. I heard the reactions from the players just screaming, yes, because of how important that W was. But my goodness, man, it was a totally different looking team from the start of the series to the end of things. FUEGO, that is a huge loss for them to suffer. We talk about they take down the Juggernauts, right? They drop Gen G. You're thinking coming into this series versus E6, they roll on, they stay alive. They're looking good. I mean, our morale after game 1 was, okay, FUEGO, all right, you're looking good. Search and destroy. It was massive for E6 to take. If they don't, you're probably coming out number 1 in this group. Now we're talking about the scenarios of which they don't even make it out of groups now.
Well, I was trying to figure that out in my head, actually. It's like Gen G need to beat Enigma6 and War.
Yeah.
But if War beat Gen G and FUEGO, then it's looking like it could be a 3-way tie. And you know what? FUEGO did the hard work beating Gen G. But if Gen G beat Enigma6, you're talking about the amount of maps get dropped, and they beat Team War, it's 2-1 for them. Then FUEGO have to beat Team War. It's insane how you can beat Gen G and kick off your tournament like that, but because you've just lost against them, it's not guaranteed.
Oh yeah, definitely not.
It's looking like a crazy group still. I don't know how it's going to go.
Oh yeah, I mean it is, like, for sure, and I know for Gingy as well. I think I saw a few players kind of tweeting after that series saying that's not an accurate representation of how we're going to play this week. So that's the thing to kind of keep in mind as well. We've talked about the maps, how those have kind of been a major differential, and if you're Fuego, the main kind of negative is that obviously you lost, but you only escaped with one map. You can get to that game 5, hey, you're in a much better position because it probably will come down to maps in terms of this group. That's how close it's looking as of this moment. If we see better performances come through from War, that could change a lot, but still, it's unfortunate for Fuego to go out the way that they did based off the first hard point, which, like we said, we thought we were on the midst of a Cinderella story, but maybe just a fair stepsister, as you called out.
I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be insane, but we're going to go to a break. Don't go anywhere. More to come here on Charlie of the World Championships.